Amen.
Good evening, sir. I am very happy to have got this opportunity and especially this topic that I've got, that is gender inequality. With my experience that I've had with 11 years, it must be a very short experience in front of many of you who have been teaching for many, many years, right? So, but with the psychology as my field and with this experience, what I have learned is that students do express how they feel and how they want to what they want to say only if a teacher is receptive, right? So as a teacher, I have been very receptive to my students. I've listened to them. I have tried to clear their doubts and many things, right? So an experience that I had, one incident that I would like to share. Yes.
It's all of the participants are please requested to just mute themselves.
Okay, so I wanted to share one incident or experience that happened with me related to gender. So this is about 4 years back, or probably 5 years back. I was teaching about gender in my class because it's a part of our syllabus in psychology. So we were discussing as to what topics students can do their research on. Okay, in psychology, they need to conduct a survey research, and I give them full freedom to decide what they want to research on, who are going to be the participants of their research and all, and what topic they want to research on. So some of my students came up with the idea of wanting to understand the attitudes of people towards the LGBTQ community. So I was a little hesitant, as I said, that one is feasibility as a issue in surveys and researches, because you do need to see that would you be able to find participants who are ready to give their viewpoints? Are they ready to share their true ideas about the other communities or not? But then these students, the present generation, is very enthusiastic about these topics, and therefore I did allow them to do that, and I did go through the questionnaires that they prepared and the research how it went. So at that point of time, I did tell my students, even asked me that, ma'am, what are your opinions about the other community that people don't want to even talk about, don't want to even name much about? When we talk about gender, it's male or female. So what is it? What are your opinions? So I said to my students that I am teaching psychology, and in psychology, at one point of time, having doubts about your gender or gender dysphoria was considered as a psychological disorder. But then, as time passed and as newer ideas came up, more research took place, we are now considering homophobia as a disorder, which is fear of the other identities, other genders. So, yes, the tables have turned, things are changing, people are now more open and more receptive towards the other genders as well. So my student said, ma'am, what about your opinion? This is what you're telling us from the psychology perspective. So I told my students that I have actually not met somebody personally or in a very close interaction from any other gender. I meet men and women and girls and boys, but not have had a personal interaction with anybody. So I'm not very sure that if I meet them, how would I feel? How would I react? Or would it actually mean anything much to me or not? What would I do? So the matter closed there itself. But after a few months, I got a call from one of my students, a boy, Aryan, and he said, ma'am, I wanted to talk something to you. Now he had cleared his boards and had scored really well. And I said, yes, absolutely. I thought it must be related to their college applications or something. So I told him, yes, please go ahead. So he said, ma'am, remember the day that when we were discussing in school related to the LGBTQ community, transgenders and all, you said that, I am not very sure as to what I feel and how I would react or what my opinions are. So ma'am, today I want to come open to you. I want to tell you that I identify myself as a different gender from what my biology or what my parents have assigned to me. I feel differently. And I was surprised. I was happy that he felt that he could come to me. I said, why now? Why not tell me at that point of time? He said, ma'am, I wasn't sure that how would you feel? Would you like it? Or what would be the reaction or something? So I thought now today, when I've already made you proud with my academic result, let me tell you today how I feel. So yes, that was my first actual experience of talking to somebody on such close quarters who feel differently. And I asked him that, how do you feel? What is it that you are facing right now? He said, ma'am, the major thing is that I have come clean to my family as well. And my family is very, very supportive. They are with me. I have two sisters, and they are holding my hands. They are behind me in every situation that I face. And I felt, what about inequality? He said, ma'am, this is the major issue that I face, not in my family, but in the society, how people view me. What about the culture, the religion, and so many other aspects that try to hinder, that try to stop us from feeling anything else? Our religion, people who are not clear about religion, who don't have much knowledge about it, they would say ki this is against our religion, this and that. But in Hindu religion also, there has been recognition of the third gender and other things. So let's start now. This was one of my experiences. So now I would like to take you on a journey, on a simple ideas about what is gender inequality, and then we would discuss about it more. I would like to share a PPT that I've made on this. Okay, give me a second, please. Okay, so starting with the psychology of gender inequality. What is gender inequality? When we are talking about gender inequality, we say that there is discrimination that people are facing. Discrimination is when you are not being given the same opportunities as the other gender, as other people, only because of your gender that you own or what you are, right? So this is discrimination on the basis of sex or gender, causes one sex or gender to be routinely privileged or prioritized over the other. So one gender is being prioritized and the other gender is being discriminated against. So when we are in our Indian society, when we say, okay, I hope I expect a boy, or we already have a girl, I must have a boy now. When parents give more opportunities to their boy child in front of their girl child, in comparison to that, that is inequality, that is discrimination that is taking place. And this is happening in each and every household to some or the other extent. Many would say that no, in our household things like this have not happened. I would also say that way. But in our lives, we do face experience, we do face situations where we can say, yes, this has happened to me because I am a girl, or this has happened to me because I'm a boy, or because I identify differently. Going on further, the types of gender. We have, if you go on Google and search the types of gender, you would come across 20 plus types. But I've just tried to classify them into four major categories. So we have male, female, transgender, and non-binary. Male and female, we all are clear with. Transgender are those who are assigned a particular sex, but they identify as the other. So assigned by sex or by in biological terms as male, but identify as a female. Assigned as female, but identify as male. That is transgender. Then we have non-binary. Non-binary means that they do not feel that they are either a male or a female. They can feel in any terms nowadays. It is not about, it's like gender fluid. I can be a boy, I can be a girl. A person can say that I am non-binary or I'm agender. Agender means I don't have any gender, I'm not a male or a female, I don't feel like either of them. Or fluid. So it can vary, that they all come under the umbrella term of non-binary. Coming to the history of inequality in India. In India, when I further talk, I'll show you a report in which we will show that India lies at a, when we talk about ranking in gender inequality, India's ranking is really very, very low. I will come to that later. But then when we talk about history of it in India, the Vedic era, that is about 1500 BC, 2000 BC, at that point of time, women in India were held at a high pedestal. They were given roles of leaders. They were consulted. They were taken advices from, and they were taken equal to men. There was no discrimination in India at all during that time, right? And all the responsibilities, everything was equally divided. But the post-Vedic era or the later Vedic era, things started to change. Women were now not allowed to hold the higher jobs or the leadership jobs. There was a lot of polygamy that was taking place, multiple marriages. So therefore, the value of women in the society started decreasing, right? The medieval era saw the worst of it. The medieval era saw dowry, sati, it saw so many polygamy, domestic violence, and everything happening. And today, in the modern era, we are having a facade. We are wearing a mask of being very aware, of being talking about equality and everything. But today, also, we know that behind this mask, everybody, somewhere or the other in their lives, have faced inequality, be it a lady or be it a man, right? Going on further, let's talk about the causes as to why do we see inequality in our country even today. When we talk about poverty in India, we still know that there are a lot of people below the poverty line, or they are struggling in the debt trap and all, which make us frustrated. And that frustration comes out in the forms of domestic violence, aggression, and other things in the families. Uneven access to education. When family has limited resources and they have to make a choice, whom do we send to school? So should we send our boy to school or should we send our girls to the school? And the choice would be send the boy to school. He would go to school, he would study, he would get a job, and he would earn for the family. He would earn a name for the family. But for a girl, let her sit at home and learn the household chores, because when she grows up, she goes to the other house, she needs to show that what, as parents, what we have been taught to our child, right? So we are not giving equal opportunities to our children. Poor medical care. Women are not receiving the care they should. Why? Because if you say, no, there are hospitals, government hospitals and everything, uh, everybody must have heard about postpartum depression. Postpartum depression is when a woman after delivery does not receive the care that she needs, and because of that, not getting that care, being neglected, she goes through depression. And this depression transforms into other psychological problems like anxiety and things. But the problem is that it translates into her not being able to take care of the child. There are many deaths also that take place because of postpartum depression. There are suicides that are taking place because of this. So yes, there is lack of care. Medical care does not include only the government hospitals and providing medicines and other things. There is psychological care also that is required, the mental medical care that is required. Lack of body autonomy. Autonomy is your freedom, freedom over your body. People are lacking that freedom. Say, for example, women, after they have had their children and they don't want to conceive further and they want to use precautions, they want to use other methods to not have the unwanted pregnancy, it is usually the partners who do not want it. Men say they aren't happy using precautions, sir. That does not happen. So they do not have that autonomy over their own bodies as to what they can do, what they cannot do. And men very easily can comment, oh, you look a little fat, you look a little too bony. So there is no acceptance of their own bodies at all and no freedom related to their bodies. Types of gender inequality. Where are the areas where we face the gender inequality? Mortality means the death rate. Yes, more women at younger ages are facing death than men because women are stressed, women are not given the medical care, women are facing more harsh conditions than men. So there is mortality inequality. Employment inequality. If a woman is to be employed versus a man, you would see कि अरे इसका marriageable age तो नहीं है, अरे इसका कोई अभी ये family way पे तो नहीं है. So employment में भी हम देखेंगे. When we talk about salaries, men are getting more salaries in the same job roles versus women. So there is employment inequality. Household inequality in the house in the modern times when like I'll give my own example. We are a nuclear family, and when my in-laws come to visit, my husband, who's usually a very helpful man, when the in-laws are here, is usually sitting and chatting with them and forgets that I'm alone to take care of everything. I am cooking, I'm taking care of the kid and everything. Why? Because if he starts helping me during that time, my mother-in-law might say, अरे why do you work so much? तुम तो अभी ऑफिस से काम कर आए हो, अब क्यों काम कर रहे हो? तुम इसको करने दो, इसका काम है, ये तो टीचर ही है, दोपहर में आ जाती है, फिर सब कुछ संभाल लेगी. So yes, there is household inequality. When we talk about sharing household chores, very few men actually cook on a regular basis. अगर कभी occasional cooking को अगर हम कहेंगे कि हाँ, he's very good chef, and we start complimenting him on those occasions, we forgetting that every day 3 square meals are being given by the women of the house, right? When we talk about natality inequality, natality is the birth rate. There, if we talk about the ratio of male and female sex ratio, we would see that still in India it is 927 women versus 1000 men. So yes, women are, there is still female feticide that is taking place, right? When there is a ban on doing getting to know what is the gender of the fetus, but then when you get to know, there is still female feticide that takes place, if not feticide, infanticide that is taking place. Living in urban areas, being educated, we feel अब ये कहाँ होता है, but होता है. अभी भी आप rural areas में जाओ, अपने talk to some people who live in remote areas and all, it is a reality in our country even today. Then we talk about ownership inequality, ownership of our property. When we say distribution, हम आज तक कहते हैं कि as a sister sign करके दे दी, अपने ब्रदर को प्रॉपर्टी साइन करके दे दी कि नहीं दे दी. जिस सिस्टर ने वो साइन नहीं करा, अरे ये कैसी बहन है, अपने भाई को उसका हक भी नहीं दे सकती. मतलब वो भाई का हक है लेकिन वो बहन का हक नहीं है, उसको साइन करके वो दे देना है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट का लॉ है कि इक्वल होना चाहिए. तो लड़की का सिर्फ इतनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी रहेगी कि वो साइन करके अपने भाई को प्रॉपर्टी हैंड ओवर कर दे. अगर कोई बहन अपने हिसाब से ना करना चाहे तो वो गलत है. इवन पेरेंट्स गो अगेंस्ट कि तुम क्यों नहीं कर रही हो, तुम्हें अपने भाई को दे देना चाहिए, तुम्हें तो तुम्हारे ससुराल से मिल जाएगा, मिले ना मिले, लेकिन उसका हक था वो उससे नहीं दिया जाता है. एजुकेशनल इनइक्वालिटी वी हैव ऑलरेडी टॉक्ड अबाउट अर्लियर. Coming to the effects of gender inequality, when there is inequality that is faced, it would the effects, when we are giving more importance to our a particular gender, specifically men in our lives, and we give them more opportunities, we pamper them more, we do not teach them that what is right and wrong and how to take care of the women in their lives, uh, things like these are going to come. These are going to be the effects. Domestic violence, there are domestic violence cases in the urban areas as well. Women are beaten. When there was this news once in the breakfast, when the man did not get the breakfast of his choice, the husband murdered her. This was in the news about a year ago or so. So yes, domestic violence. Women's health, much deteriorating. You talk to women, I talk to my colleagues and friends on a regular basis, and yes, they ignore their health. Why? Because household chores are more important. Taking care of the children is more important. And if there are financial problems, then ignoring their health is more important than, of course, providing meals. And the husband can use that money for his entertainment, but she would ignore her health, right? Poor quality education, we've discussed this earlier. Gender based violence, when men consider themselves to be more important, they start dominating. And when that dominating feature comes into them, that we are the alpha men, then they exert their dominance through violence on the other genders, right? So gender based violence is there. Limited autonomy. Autonomy is the freedom, very little freedom to decide what she wants to do in life, her education, her career, whom she wants to get married to, when she wants to have children or not. That freedom to take any decision in life is very, very limited. We might say that we take decisions together, but you would see even in your household, the final say is with the man. He decides कि कहाँ घूमने जाना है. He decides कि कौन से कॉलेज में बच्चे जाएंगे. He decides कि कौन सी कार खरीदनी है, कहाँ घर लेना है. The final decision is with the man. So therefore, we have very, very limited freedom. Next is limited career advancement. सबसे पहले तो भाई the usual statement, लड़कियां हैं, सिंपल जॉब लें, कॉर्पोरेट में ना जाएं, एमएनसी ना करें, रात को लेट आना है, नाइट शिफ्ट नहीं करना चाहिए. So wherever there are opportunities to actually excel and earn better and prove their competence, they are not given those choices, right? So limited career advancement. And as सबसे सेफर, टीचर बन जाओ. टीचर बन जाओ, फिर इजीली टाइम पे घर आ जाओगे, सुबह जाओगे, दोपहर में आ जाओगे. तो द करियर एडवांसमेंट, द चॉइसेस आर वेरी, वेरी फ्यू. Coming to the psychological effects of this, what are women facing? We are facing anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling wherein you feel that a heaviness on your chest. You feel that constraint on yourself. You feel that you can't breathe freely. You are worried, constant stress on your mind. You are not able to easily speak up what you feel. You're not able to express yourself, right? So that is anxiety that they are feeling, a constant worry. Depression is lack of motivation. Sometimes the lack of motivation to do even the basic things, getting out of the bed, taking care of themselves, even basic care gets very, very difficult. So depression can be an outcome. High levels of stress. Women are highly stressed, and stress has been highly equated with many other diseases. Diseases like ulcers, allergies, they all have been taken as, the root cause is considered as stress, and also cancer. There is a personality that we talk about in psychology, that is personality type C, and that type C is considered to be prone to cancer. तो मतलब आपके पर्सनालिटी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या हैं, वो भी आपको एक कैंसर को प्रोन कर सकते हैं. नॉट ओनली ऑल द एलर्जीज एंड adulterations and other things around you, but also your own body, your own personality can make you prone to cancer. So what is that personality? That personality is submissive. That personality is over cooperative, and that is what we women are. We always support others. We always care for others. We are suppressed by others. We are ready to be submissive. We like to say ki ji haan, aap bataiye. So this is the type of personality if women have, they are highly stressed and they are going to be prone to many uh, health issues. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is very commonly known and used term. It is a disorder that occurs after you have faced a traumatic experience. And this traumatic experience in a woman's life can be a lot. We talk about women facing domestic violence, women being raped, women being eve teased, women being assaulted. So all these are traumas that you face because of your gender, and those traumas are making you prone to stress disorders, that is post-traumatic stress disorder, and it has a huge impact on our mental well-being. Going on further, the mental cost of gender bias. We are exposed to trauma. There is low self-esteem that you feel. Self-esteem is your value worth. Do you feel that you have the value? Do you feel that you are worth anything around? Are you, like this ad used to come, L'Oreal ad used to say you are worth it. So they are trying to say that you are worth this shampoo, you should use this shampoo. So that worth hai aapki ki nahi hai. So that's low self esteem is what women face regularly. And of course men can also face low self esteem when they are said height अच्छी नहीं है, कॉम्प्लेक्शन नहीं है, स्मार्ट नहीं है, टॉल डार्क हैंडसम नहीं है. So low self esteem can be felt by men as well. Body image. We have a ideal body image, that body image should be muscular, thin, not having any fat around. When we do not fit into that body image, we have that distorted body idea that, oh, we do not fit into that image, so there is something lacking in us, there is something wrong with us. So that body image issues we have. Chronic stress, self-harm. When self-harm, there are ways of self-harming. I still remember one of my friends used to constantly cut herself, have small slits over here, and being a empathetic listener always, that's why I entered into the field of psychology. Being empathetic, she used to tell me a lot about what was going on in her family, how she felt discriminated, how she always felt that her brother is considered more important than her, and that made her feel less about herself. And this self harm gave her some relief, made her feel better in some ways. I wonder how, but it did for her. Eating disorders, when there is a distorted body image, you don't feel in the right body size, eating disorders are a consequence, which include anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating. So when you start starving yourself, or excessive exercise because you do not want that fat to get absorbed. So eating disorders, that is anorexia, and bulimia is when you eat and then you start purging, vomiting. So eating disorders can occur. Panic disorders is sudden panic attack that occurs. It could be just a thought, or it could be some small insignificant stimulus that could lead to a huge attack in which the person feels that they're choking or they might even die. So that can happen. You might feel एक inequality से ये सब कुछ कैसे हो गया. Inequality is the seed. It starts at home, it starts in our institutes, as schools we do it, and as teachers we might do it sometimes. A small seed, and it blooms into disorders. It becomes major problems, right? And anxiety we have talked about earlier. The report that I was telling you about, the divide, the India's gender divide, this is a report that is called Gender Gap Report, and you would see India ranks 129th, right? We are almost at the bottom. Why are we so low? We are low because we are still not able to fight female feticide. We have very little representation in politics. We are girls are still dropping out of schools, and we are not able to give equal opportunities to our women yet, right? So there are some statistics that I would see on this slide. India ranked 65th globally in political empowerment of women. And India ranked 5th after all its neighbors around. That is Bangladesh se bhi bura haal hai, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan. They all are doing better in South Asia in comparison to India. Then we talk about economic parity. There is 30% gender parity. That means men are earning 30% more than women. And then there are initiatives that India has taken. We do not say that government is not trying to do anything at all. There are initiatives, and these initiatives have given us some improvement, but then it is still not enough. We have Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Mahila police volunteers, and then we have Sukanya Samriddhi Yojanas. There are some reforms that can take place at the political level, at a legal level, and all. At political level, we need to have more representation of women in the politics. We need to promote gender sensitive budgeting. There is tax on sanitary pads as well. So if when we are budgeting and we are not being sensitive to the basic needs of women, then we are putting tax on something that is so essential, then we are not being sensitive towards our women at all. So yes, we need to be very sensitive when we are doing the budgeting as well. So this was just a small example. There are many other things. Talking about the legal aspects, we need to strengthen our laws. We need to see that gender violence, gender-based violence and assaults are dealt with very, very strongly, and quick action needs to be taken. We still hear about the rape case of Calcutta, and it's been about 18 to 20 days. And after polygraphy tests and everything, we still are not able to see anything actually happening. We are still don't know what is going to be the consequence. Where is the report? When is this person who has committed this horrendous crime going to actually bear the fruits of it, right? So our legal system really needs to get very, very strong. When we talked about Damini rape case and murder case, again, it took years, right? And then there were loopholes like juveniles and this and that. So our law needs to get very, very strict, and we need to see that the law is implemented, the reforms are taking place. Then the possible solutions, we need to invest and we need to empower. We need to encourage female candidates in many different situations, like encourage them to study, encourage them to work. Like I'll just give you this small incident. Some of my students got selected for a camp, and the parents were not very sure that should they send their child for that camp or not. And they were very sure that they would send their children to the camp only when there is an adult who is accompanying them. And then one of the adults had to volunteer, and then there were costs and all that were involved. So all these things we need to see that we encourage. We need to see that we provide that opportunity. Yes, we need to be careful. We need to be cautious when we are taking care or dealing with these situations. But then not giving the opportunity is a bigger crime, right? So encourage our girls to do better. Promote shared domestic responsibilities. Ladies, when you are parenting your kids, be it boys or girls, teach your boys some skills too. Teach them that they need to be equally responsible for the household chores as well. Don't think that it is only the girls who should be taught. Teach your boys to do it as well. Strengthen the legal protections and enforcements, and create safe platforms. So these were some of the possible solutions that I talked about. Now, I want to talk about what we can do as teachers, right? When we talk about this whole idea of this platform and the presentations, was that we talk about what role do teachers play, right? As teachers, we need to see that we do not discriminate amongst our children at all. All our students in our class have to be equal to us. Why do we choose boys when it comes to, doing things that require more strength? कि अरे अगर एक टेबल शिफ्ट करना है, बॉयज आ जाओ क्लास आए, कम अक्रॉस दिस अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स कि जब कोई काम टीचर्स को होता है, वॉलंटियर्स चाहिए, लड़के चाहिए, कुछ सामान का इधर उधर करना है, ये कर कोई मैसेज वगैरह देना है, अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम करना है, गर्ल्स आ जाओ, कहीं पे नुक्कड़ नाटक करना है, या ट्रीज प्लांट करने हैं तो बॉयज आ जाओ. वी आर डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग. Sorry. So yes, our small acts, our small choices that we make do influence the perceptions of our students as well. When we are biased, our students are going to get influenced as well. They are also going to feel कि मैम भी ऐसे सोचते हैं, and these happen at a subconscious level. जरूरी नहीं है कि हम ये सब कुछ डायरेक्टली बोलते हैं या हम डायरेक्टली इन चीजों को प्रमोट करते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. लेकिन ये चीजें हमारे मैनरिज्म्स, हम क्या बोलते हैं या हम क्या चॉइसेस लेते हैं, उन सब पे डिपेंड करता है, और उन सब से कम्युनिकेट हो जाता है बच्चों को. उनको सबकॉन्शियसली ये चीज समझ आ जाती है, और वो भी कहीं ना कहीं इस चीज को, जेंडर रोल्स को इंटरनलाइज करने लगते हैं, और वही चीजें एक्सपेक्ट करने लगते हैं. So we need to be cautious with each and every small thing that we do as educators, as teachers. Then when we talk about raising our children, most of us over here would be married and having children, and being a parent is very, very difficult, I would say. Being a parent, there is a lot of expectations from us, and that constant pressure of being a good parent is always there on us. And therefore I'm adding on one more thing, that yes, keep this thing in mind as well, that when you are raising your children, raise them equally, give them equal opportunities. If you are not allowing your girls to go out, don't allow your boys to go out as well. If you are teaching household chores to your girl, teach them to your boys as well. If you're asking your girls to make breakfast, ask your boys to make the dinner. Make it equal. जब हम अपने घर में इक्वालिटी देखेंगे, जब हम अपने घर में प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, then it would transform into other things as well. And lastly, I would also like to state that as women, if you are facing any sort of injustice, inequality, speak up for it. Speak up that yes, I am not happy with this situation. This is not idle. And when it is the right time, I would say, when it is high time, learn to walk out of a bad situation as well. Do not endure this whole situation silently and feel ki this is what can I do, how do I get out of this, I do not have any choice, who will support me? You support yourself, support your friends, support your relatives. You be the support for others, and people will be the support for you as well. Do not feel alone. Speak up and take help wherever required. Now, anything that anybody would like to add on? Yes. If you would like to share something, you can even put it in the chat box, and I would happy to take up anything related to gender inequality, of course, be it in the households or be it in your schools, wherever. Somebody is speaking up but not very audible.
If anyone, any participant wants to ask something, please feel free to ask.
You are also very welcome to share your own experiences.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, so since most of you do not have anything much to say, and I would like to add on a few things as well. We do have some more time, so yes, we can continue a little more. So when I was doing research on this gender inequality, I was asked by Anil sir to do this about 10 days back or so. So I started doing my research, and I talked to my students also, and I told them that I will be doing this webinar So, any suggestions that you have to give me? So, some of them did suggest that I should give some facts about all the genders, right? We are very open to talking about gender inequality when it talks about males and females. But then when we talk about the other genders, we get very, very hesitant. So, just one of the suggestions by my student was that I must um speak up about those as well, and I must tell you about what are the different terminologies. And there is one terminology. I still remember once I was asking some of my students to fill answer sheets in which they were required to fill in their gender. So one of my students wrote cis female, CIS female. So I asked her, what is this, right? Male, female. What is cis female? So she said, ma'am, cis female means that I identify as the biological sex that I have been given. That means I am a female biologically and I identify as a female as well. So these students are much more aware about their gender and about what is happening around the pride and everything. And there is a gap that is there. I still remember when I was taking my lecture and talking about it, one of my colleagues happened to enter the class because my period was over and my over enthusiastic students didn't want me to leave the topic and go. So I was still continuing to discuss with them while my colleague came in and she said, ये सब कुछ नहीं होता है, ये सब क्या है, बच्चों को तुम क्या पढ़ा रहे हो? So I was telling her कि I am talking scientific things and psychological things over here, and we need to be open. We cannot uh, stop ourselves from this knowledge. We should not close our minds. We should be open and we should be more realistic. When men say अरे ये सब कुछ नहीं होता है, बहुत ज्यादा फेमिनिज्म फेमिनिज्म चल रहा है और ये सब इट्स जस्ट ऑल अ प्रोपेगेंडा, me too movement is a propaganda. Nothing is a propaganda. These are real, these are facts, these are statistics that are proving that these things exist in our society, and there needs to be a lot more. अगर ये propaganda है तो ऐसे बहुत सारे propaganda चाहिए ताकि कहीं ना कहीं पहुंच सके, हमारा कहीं ना कहीं एक लेवल इक्वल आ सके. So yes, men who are facing inequality because they do not fit into the ideal image, or women who are facing inequality need to be more aware and speak up and stand up for themselves, right? So anyone who would like to add now about your experiences and your doubts that you've had? I have been very, open about my experiences and have shared them. I would say.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Shelly Mahindru from Amritsar Bhavans. Just wanted to share one thing with you. I've got a daughter, teenage daughter. Few months back, the topic you have taken up, she just asked me, do you have, because they people are, today's teenager are, they're very open with the friends. So they people actually are aware. When we were at their age, I think we were not aware of so many things.
Yes.
So what she shared with me, like she actually made me aware of all these things what we are talking today in the topic. And then she had a complaint also. This thing which you were supposed to tell me as a mother, I came to know from my peers. So then I like committed, like I like confessed in front of her that beta, I was not aware. If I would have been, surely if I have talked to you so much, I have brought up you, I have like you are a teenager, we've discussed so many things, so there was no bad to talk about this. But thank you so much that you have told me so many things. So the thing is, actually the peers of today, they are much aware, and the children who are open up with their parents, they are making them also aware.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Ma'am, your video has stopped.
Inu ma'am, it's my video was off only.
Nee,
I
nee, ma'am.
just
Shalini ma'am,
okay.
your video is not. I'm just talking about Shalini ma'am. Shalini ma'am's video has
Okay,
stopped.
maybe some connectivity
Ah,
issue.
yes, ma'am. Shalini ma'am, are you there? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, your video had stopped earlier. Now you are audible.
Yes. She went home and she heard a podcast about gender inequality and other genders. And then she said, now I'm ready to talk because I prepared myself about it. And truly, she said, I was not aware कि इतने सारे terminologies होते हैं. पहले LGBT आया, LGBTQ आ गया, LGBTQ plus आ गया, क्या कुछ आ गया. So she said, yes, we need to first make ourselves aware. तब जाके हम इसके बारे में कुछ बात कर पाएंगे. So yes, our children do feel कि as parents we are failing them somewhere, we are not open with them, we do not tell them everything. हम कितनी चीजें डिस्कस करते हैं बट वो चीजें डिस्कस करेंगे ना जो हमें खुद को पता होगा. So it's important, make yourselves aware, get to know what is happening, and अगर हम aware होंगे तभी हम अपने बच्चों को support भी कर पाएंगे. Right? Anything else anybody would like to share? Thank you, Shelly ma'am, that is a wonderful experience.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Anybody else would like to share?
And ma'am, actually there was this when the discussion was going on. So obviously today is Sunday and children are moving around, and what she said, Mama, this is the topic of today's webinar. So I said yes. So Kathy, my God, you will get to learn so many things also today. So do share with me also after the webinar. I said okay, sure.
I hope I'm able to come up to her expectations, though I touched little on the
Yeah, ma'am, sure. It's a pleasure that we are sir has made Sharma sir are making so many efforts, and we are coming across so many new things to learn. So it's all to the thanks to sir and thanks to all the faculty that today we are on this platform and we are learning so much.
True, ma'am.
So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your efforts.
Okay, so ma'am, up to you now. Inu, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a lovely and an informative session. So now I would request Suman Joshi, ma'am, from BVB Jaipur to just extend a vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
You're not very audible.